Days of Our Lives, spoilers for the week of July 21st to 25, reveal that Tate Black will have some baby questions after Rafe Hernandez plays the hero for Holly Jonas and Ariana. Ari Horton. Tony DiMera will also recruit some help for a sneaky plan. So let's talk about what's ahead on Duel. For starters, Rafe will leap into action after Tate and Doug Williams III seek his assistance. Since Ari is Rafe's niece, he'll be personally invested in making sure she's safely reunited with Gabby Hernandez ASAP. Of course, Rafe also cares about Nicole Walker's daughter, so Day's spoilers say he'll do whatever it takes to get both Ari and Holly out of this loan shark mess alive. Gabby will breathe a sigh of relief once Rafe, Doug, and Tate pull off a rescue mission. That said, Gabby may fume over Doug dragging Ari into danger in the first place and give him a piece of her mind. In the aftermath of this kidnapping ordeal, Gabby will tackle a new challenge. Day's spoilers say Tony will rope Gabby into a sneaky plan, one that'll require Gabby to use her seductive skills on both Xander Kyriakis and Philip Kyriakis. Tony will push Gabby into a manipulation plot that could help regain control of DiMera, so she'll get on board despite the bonding she's been doing with Xander. Although Tate will be relieved over Holly and Ari getting out of their kidnapping jam alive, he'll face more drama soon. That's because Sophia Choi will be ready to sell her phony story about finding an adoptive couple who took her baby girl right after the birth. In reality, Sophia had a baby boy who ended up with Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez following her safe haven box drop-off. Tate will put Sophia through a grilling session since he won't understand how she had the baby so fast and why she let this couple take the kid without consulting him. Day's spoilers say Sophia will rush to her own defense, but Tate will remain confused. And Brady Black will be perplexed by Sophia's version of events too. While Sophia piles on the lies, Cat Green's secrecy may continue to unsettle Chad DiMera. Chad is definitely curious about what Cat's hiding, so we'll see if he eventually quizzes her or tries to follow her trail. Regardless, Cat is working on a secret mission that could bring EJ DiMera's downfall, so Chad will get updates on some surprising news sooner or later. Days of Our Lives spoilers say the week of July 21st, 25 will bring some highs and lows, so stay tuned. Days of Our Lives spoilers reveal that Ari Horton may discover that Tesoro is Sophia Choi's baby, but let's discuss why she'll likely keep quiet. Of course, we should mention that Ari will be caught up in some kidnapping mayhem during the week of July 14th, 18. Ari and Holly Jonas will be abducted together, so they'll bond over that harrowing experience. Day's spoilers suggest Holly and Ari will have time to talk in captivity, so Ari may see just how much Holly loves Tate Black. Holly may admit she was interested in Doug Williams III for a while, but Tate is the guy she truly adores. In other words, Days will use this whole snatching nightmare to strengthen Ari's friendship with Holly and make her root for Holly's romance with Tate. Since Ari wants Doug for herself, it'll work in her favor if Holly and Tate remain an item. That may be part of why Ari will try to shut down Sophia's upcoming sabotage and convince her to move on from Tate. Whatever the case, Sophia is keeping a huge secret since she gave birth to Tate's baby and dropped him off in the safe haven box at the fire station. Ari doesn't know it yet, but she's already met Tate and Sophia's son. Javi Hernandez and Leo Stark are caring for little Tesoro right there in the Hernandez house, so Day's spoilers say Ari will have a front row seat to their continued baby bonding. There's a good chance this will turn into an adoption story, since Leo and Javi will have a tough time letting Tesoro go. Javi and Leo may kick off a journey to become parents, so that's something else to keep in mind. When you consider all these layers to the story, it's easy to see why Duel writers might have Ari uncover Sophia's secret. Sophia might blurt out an admission, or give Ari enough clues to figure out the truth herself. Part of Ari may want to come clean, but she'll have so many good reasons not to. If Ari blabs, she may worry that the baby drama that drove Holly and Tate apart in the first place will reignite. That could leave Ari concerned about her ability to hold on to Doug since he's so enamored with Holly. Plus, Ari won't want to destroy the family that Javi and Leo are trying to create. This could turn into an extremely messy situation for Ari, and that's exactly why she's the perfect person to discover what Sophia's hiding. Days of Our Lives spoilers say Sophia will dupe Tate with a bogus adoption in the coming weeks, but Ari could get updates on some shocking Tesoro news down the road. The teens are in a whole boatload of trouble on Days of Our Lives. Tate's about to grill Doug on where Holly is. Gabby's about to realize Ari never made it to the lake. And Holly and Ari? Well, they're afraid for their lives, as they should be, since there's no way Doug can come up with money or the necklace. Somehow, we doubt robbing the pub cash register is going to cut it. But there is one person who could put an end to all of this, maybe for good. And we're talking about Maggie. She knows Doug stole the necklace. She knows Holly's been mixed up with it and covered for him. She doesn't have to be caught up to speed, and she was married to Victor long enough to not start panicking over a kidnapping. That's not to say she wouldn't be shaken and upset, but if Doug was smart, he'd run to her and she could use her vast resources to get Holly back. She's got the money, and she wouldn't want to risk Holly's safety. She could give it to Doug to pay the guy off, then maybe make sure he never threatened her loved ones again. Because Maggie also has a family who's got enough toes dipped into the shadier part of the world that if she needed to, she could send someone to make sure this guy never bothered her loved ones again. Not with murder, of course, but maybe just make it clear that he's a far smaller fish than the Kyriakis family. Clearly, though, Salem is not the best environment for Holly. Drugs, coma, stolen property, kidnapping. And it's not going to get any easier for her since the summer preview teased Sophia messing with her rival. Sure, Maggie tried gently telling her granddaughter that there's nothing she can do for Maggie's Bermuda vacation has been scuttled by Melissa's work conflict and Xander's sheer paranoia about his mother-in-law helping Sarah run off with Victoria. But she's still due a vacation. And at the end of the day, she may decide it's time to leave Salem for a trip abroad with Holly. And while she's at it, Maggie could drop her off with Nicole in Paris to make sure she stays out of trouble and goes to college someplace nice and safe, far, far away from the madness of Salem. Stephanie's working intently at her computer when Alex tries offering her a beer, which she doesn't notice. He tries talking to her a bit before he realizes she's not paying one whit of attention to him. She's prepping for her EJ meeting for the hospital. She's stressed about getting him as a client, but Alex just suggests she quit and write full-time. Then he pulls out his tablet and shows her the cover of One Stormy Night. She's delighted. Alex tells her this book is going to put their publishing division back on top. Then they start kissing, but they're interrupted by someone knocking who just won't go away. Stephanie finally gets up to find Kayla dropping by with a blueberry pie. She's stress-baking over the hospital finances, so she brought some over. Alex runs off to shower when Stephanie tells her mom to stick around to have some. Stephanie fills her mom in on her bid to work for the hospital. She doesn't think EJ would talk to her if he wasn't prepared to make an offer. Should I accept it? Kayla thinks the hospital would be lucky to have her, but she should run the other way. And don't look back. It's EJ's hospital now, and he wants to make some big changes. She can handle him, but being his PR person is tricky. He's the type of person who will leave her with endless fires to put out. Stephanie just wants to help the hospital, then Alex gets back for some pie. Kayla's about to leave when she spots the tablet and the book cover. Kayla gets a bit tongue-tied admitting she read it when it was going around the hospital. It was steamy. "Have you read it?" she asks Stephanie. They play dumb, then Steph looks about to hyperventilate once Kayla leaves. Rafe gets a text from Kelly Jones to meet in 20. Before he can head out, though, Gabby gets home to prep for a meeting. "Where are you off to?" Rafe says he has his own meeting to get to, but it's FBI business. He asks if Gabby's heard from Ari, but she hasn't. She's fine, though. It happens when she's having fun. Xander's trying to lay down the law at work on the phone while rocking a crying Victoria in her stroller. He tries taking her for a walk to calm her down, but nothing's working. He's getting desperate when Gabby shows up, offering to help. Xander insists he's more than capable of soothing his daughter, but Gabby drops her purse and tells him to give her a shot. She gets Victoria calmed, then tells a stunned Xander that she mostly just cried herself to sleep. Xander worries that Victoria forgot who he is, but Gabby just tells him they need to get reacquainted. She's had to do that with her own daughter, and at 18, she's a lot tougher than Victoria. They get down to work, and and Xander starts talking about his frustration with Johnny being so MIA. Gabby suggests that since he too was just charged with attempted murder, maybe he could cut Johnny some slack. She then reassures him that things will be okay, and Xander's a bit surprised at how calm she is. Chad and Thomas are in the park to play some baseball when they run into Cate. She says she's just taking a sunset stroll, but Thomas offers her his glove to play some catch with them. Cate tells him it's sweet, but she can't right now. Chad flashes back to seeing the mysterious message on her phone the other day from some guy. Then Cate heads off. Chad and Thomas get down to their game of catch. Cate makes it to Rafe's office, where they banter about their aliases. She pulls out a flash drive with info on EJ's finances and hands it over, at which point, Rafe goes over their briefing. The FBI and ISA have set up this task force to take down the DiMeras. Now's the perfect time to strike, and the best way is to follow the money. Rafe knows EJ didn't buy the hospital out of his goodness, and where did he get the money? And Recieve won't make money for years, so what's EJ planning in the meantime? Cate asks how personal this is and what Rafe and EJ's history is. Rafe tells her to settle in. Then we cut to the end of his tale when EJ replaced him with Arnold Feniger. Again. Rafe tells her EJ's a sociopath, and buying the hospital is terrifying. He needs to be stopped. Cate didn't want to jump in on this, but it's personal for her too. Since the hospital doctors saved her sister's life, she had no idea EJ was a supervillain. Plus, he's Chad's brother. Rafe assures Cate that Chad knows about his family history, and he's a good DiMera. He never closes ranks with his less-than-savory siblings and won't stand in the way. Cate's not worried about Chad so much as her siblings getting hurt because of this. Rafe gets it. He's got siblings too, but this career is a calling for him. Cate admits she may have been called to this mission because of her love of the hospital, but she's not sure she's ready for field work. Rafe offers to show her some self-defense moves. Gwen strolls into the DiMera living room to tweak EJ's nose about how tough it is for her to pick a room. He takes a swig of whiskey and tells her she's not moving in. Not today. The East Wing is getting painted, so she has to wait a few days. They get to talking about her newfound wealth, and he compliments her bling before realizing she's wearing the Horton necklace. EJ assumes now that she knows whose it is, she's going to return it to its rightful owner. When hell freezes over, Gwen breezily tells him, she still hates the whole lot of Hortons ever since Laura sent her away. Which makes EJ chuckle. He tells her there's two sides to every story, which Gwen knows, and he should be on her side. Chad walks in with Thomas and greets her, seeming amused. Gwen happily greets them, but Thomas wants to ask Aunt Gwen a question. Why do you have Aunt Julie's necklace, and why won't you give it back? Chad just smirks at her discomfort, then says that is an excellent question. Gwen tells her nephew there's been a slight disagreement about the necklace owner. Thomas runs up to get his action figures from Rachel's room, at which point Chad tells Gwen in no uncertain terms that he was only nice in front of his son. He wants her to return the necklace, wrap it up, and get out of Salem. That's not happening, she says, as EJ gleefully watches his brother dress her down. She's Thomas's aunt on both sides now. She's a DiMera, and she's moving into the mansion. Chad just scowls and looks questioningly at EJ. Xander's grateful to have Gabby's help with Victoria and is happy to have her calm demeanor right now. She remembers when people helped her with Ari, then talks about how she can never have another baby and get these early years back. Be grateful for what you have. Xander admits he has everything, except Sarah. Rafe and Cate go through EJ's finances and agree that it raises major red flags. The only way he could have bought the hospital is with a silent partner. Stephanie's horrified that her mom read this, but Alex finds it cute. Her parents are the only two people in the world she desperately didn't want to read the book. But they aren't there, so how about picking up with the sexy time? Days of Our Lives, spoilers and rumors tease. Heartbroken Sophia Choi might want her baby back. She knows what happened to him and where he is. Baby Tesoro is being fostered by Javi Hernandez and Leo Stark, and Sophia knows he's hers. Sophia didn't want to marry Tate Black, and so she didn't want to keep the baby because of her forceful and ultra-conservative mother, Amy Choi. Amy wasn't even very approving of Tate, having researched his upbringing and noting his prison record. Yet, to save face, she wanted the young couple to marry and do right by their baby, and that means enter the work world instead of going to college as young parents. No doubt, Amy and Mr. Choi are much more concerned with their own reputations by forcing their daughter to live up to them. Sophia is faking continued pregnancy after giving birth to the baby alone, but now she regrets giving him up, finding herself wanting him back. Sophia tells a tale to Tate and her parents, enlisting Melinda Trask's help. The story is that she gives birth in a clinic where the last-minute adoptive parents waited, and the adoption took place right there. Melinda fakes the paperwork, and since it's a sealed adoption, no one can know who is raising the child. It's a total ruse. Then Sophia quits playing pregnant and loses her fake baby belly, and that's that. But since she no longer has to play pregnant, she gets an idea. She still doesn't want Tate involved, so she is going to pull off this plan totally on her own, and she's miserable with her parents besides. Sophia kidnaps baby Tesoro after creating a distraction when Javi's working and Leo's got him by himself. None of the other members of the Hernandez family are home either. She's got it all planned out, right down to the most minute detail, and books a hotel under an assumed name, robbing her college funds to do it. Her frantic parents can't help but hear about the missing Holly Jonas and Ariana Horton and wonder if Sophia's with them. Sophia plans to stay away from Salem with baby Tesoro until he's maybe 4 months old, and mysteriously reappear with her son. Perhaps then, Tate will be with Holly and she can resume her life in Salem as a new mother, even though college might have to wait. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with Duel right now. Come back here often for Days of Our Lives spoilers, news, and updates. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, July 16th suggest the proverbial poop is about to hit the fan in Salem. A daddy has struggles with their child, while a colleague fills another in on a situation, and someone gets an unexpected roomie. What's set to go down on Wednesday? Time to find out. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, July 16th hint that Xander Kyriakis will have his hands full as he deals with a very fussy Victoria Kyriakis. Even Sarah Horton Kyriakis mentioned that Victoria has seemed off lately, and the parents shouldn't underestimate the fact that the toddler can sense a change in her parents and their love for each other. She'd rather have them together than spend time with them one-on-one. Still, will Xander lose his cool with his little girl, or will he rise to the occasion? Across town, Stephanie Johnson will get a surprise from Alex Kyriakis. However, will it be a good surprise or a bad one? Meanwhile, Kat Green will get filled in on EJ DiMera's past by Rafe Hernandez. Read this. Days of Our Lives spoilers. Gabby's shocking hint about the miracle baby. Who's the daddy? It sounds like Rafe is bringing Kat up to speed for their WSB assignment, so it'll be interesting to see if these two start experiencing sparks, or if their relationship will be business only. Speaking of Kat, she'll also run into Chad DiMera and his son, Thomas DiMera. In a cute twist, Thomas will want Kat to join him and his dad to play. Will Kat start bonding with Thomas? Oh, Jennifer Horton Devereaux won't be a fan of this. Speaking of EJ, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday indicate that Gwen Rizchek will inform him that she wants to move in. As she's technically still Dmitry von Luschner's wife, then technically she still has a claim to the DiMera home. It's uncertain how the legal logistics work where a billionaire family home is concerned, but it does make for fun, soapy storylines, right? Are you excited about Wednesday's show? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Tune into the new Peacock soap regularly for all the drama and check out SOS often for the best Days of Our Lives news, updates, and spoilers. On Days of Our Lives, Xander's actions have taken a darker turn ever since his attempt to make Sarah look like an unfit mother. After a heated argument, Sarah left their child with Xander, escalating tensions between them. But what if Xander's increasingly desperate behavior spirals even further? A fan theory shared by Joseph A. Smith delves into the possibility that Xander's paranoia and need to protect his secrets will lead to shocking and violent consequences. In the theory, Philip becomes a key player in Xander's unraveling. After learning about Xander's actions, Philip considers going to the police, but decides to remain anonymous in his tip. However, when Xander stumbles upon a confidential file labeled Philip Confidential, he takes a peek and discovers that Philip might be gathering information to protect himself, particularly regarding the assault that landed him in the hospital. The discovery sends Xander into a panic, and his fear of exposure drives him to drastic measures. Xander kidnaps Philip and takes him to a remote cabin in the woods to keep him hidden. But things take a turn when Xander finds Vivian already in the cabin. In a tense altercation, Vivian attempts to escape and strikes Xander with a stick. But Xander retaliates, hitting her with a brick, knocking her unconscious. As the search for Philip intensifies, Jada and Raph begin to piece together the clues leading them to the cabin. After discovering signs of violence, they track down the location, where they find a bloody confrontation between Xander and Vivian. The police eventually find Philip still tied up, and as they close in on Xander, his fate grows uncertain. The theory concludes with Sarah being called in to operate on Xander, unaware that her estranged husband is the patient on the table. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, July 17th, finally give Gabby a good reason to freak out. She learns that Ari never arrived at the lake and that she and Holly are missing. The first night Ari came home, she snuck out, and Gabby freaked. That was a bit over the top. Now, however, when Gabby learns that Ari and Holly failed to report for their class trip or meet up with Tate, she has much better reason to call out the cavalry, which usually involves Big Brother Rafe as her first port of call. And Gabby doesn't even know yet that Ari and Holly are being held at gunpoint by the thug, to whom Doug owes money. Tate, however, is pretty sure that if his girlfriend is in trouble, it must be Doug's fault. So Tate stomps off to confront his nemesis, which we can only imagine will make everything worse. Tate is so busy worrying about Holly that he completely forgets Sophia, the mother-to-be of his child. This is why he missed Sophia giving birth and giving away their son. Sophia's mother is less negligent. This is why Sophia cooked up a plan with Melinda to tell Amy to claim she gave birth out of town and handed her daughter straight over to her adoptive parents. So we can all move on now, right? Johnny is going on trial for shooting EJ. EJ doesn't want him to be convicted, so he is determined to pick just the right jury for his trial. Belle doesn't want her nephew convicted either, but she is the district attorney, so she has to be a lot more subtle about her jury tampering. Got a can't-miss theory? Send it to news@soaphub.com today. Chad's son, Thomas, asked his Aunt Gwen the question everybody should be asking during the Wednesday, July 16th episode of Days of Our Lives. Plus, should the scenes between Gabby, Xander, and Rafe or Cate tell us something about future pairings? The adorable Thomas only had to see his Aunt Gwen for 2 seconds before he asked the perfect question. Technically, it was 2 questions. Why do you have Aunt Julie's necklace? And why won't you give it back? Can Thomas ask all the important questions of Salem's more shady individuals? Wish he could ask EJ about railroading Chanel. Anyway, Gwen's answer was super vague. She said that there's a slight disagreement as to who truly owns the necklace. EJ followed her response up with him being sure the matter would be sorted soon. Meanwhile, Chad stated, "It better be." So we'll see if Gwen feels obligated to give the necklace back. Let's hope it happens. And if it does, we can thank Thomas for putting his Aunt Gwen on the spot like that. Did we see a couple of potential pairings during today's episode? First up, Gabby has been adamant for weeks and weeks that she hates working for Xander and Philip, and she wanted out of this merger business. But the Kiriakis half-bros weren't willing to give up Gubby Chic. It was a profitable venture for Demera, and will now be one for Titan Demera, hopefully. But there was a genuine thaw between Xander and Gabby as she helped Xander with Victoria. This has us wondering if something will eventually happen between the two. This question isn't out of the blue. After all, it looked like Gabby and Xander kissed in the summer preview. But one never knows with Gabby. There might be more to the story. Also, Cate had to turn down playing ball with Thomas and Chad in favor of her I Say FBI meeting with Rafe. The two had to get on the same page with their investigation into the Demeras, specifically EJ. Cate and her famed analyst skills already provided ample financial research into how EJ paid for the hospital. They again concluded there's a silent partner that they'll undoubtedly attempt to hunt down, but the two will be working closely. Will anything transpire between these two? It seems like Rafe and Jada will never reunite. What are your thoughts on Thomas, Gwen, and these potential pairings? Let us know in the comments. It's a summer these girls will never forget. And the Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the July 17th, 2025 episode tease another snippet of the action. Thursday is all about the girls, starting with Sophia, who may be having second thoughts about giving up her baby. Meanwhile, Holly and Ari are still stuck as captors to Doug III's thug. Will Sophia call Melinda in hopes of getting her baby back? Holly and Ari prove they're just as brave and resourceful as their moms. Got a can't-miss theory? Send it to amber@soaphub.com today. Days of Our Lives spoilers for July 21st, 2025. See, Gabby Hernandez is panicking, and Melinda Trask is plotting. And as we always do on Early Edition Day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week, and then talk about what's ahead in the week of the 21st through the 25th. All right, getting started. On Wednesday, July 16th, little Victoria is fussy at the office. Xander Cook's multitasking, taking a very important phone call while rocking her stroller back and forth. But she is not having it. This is not where she's used to being. And Gabby may actually help out because she shows up to talk Gabi chic to Xander while she's up at the office, and she loves little babies. EJ DiMera and Gwen Recieve may strike a deal about her moving into the mansion. After all, they are related through marriage. Dimitri von Leuschner, DiMera is EJ's nephew, right? Because his mom, Megan Hathaway, is EJ's sister. I'm doing the family tree while I'm sitting here making sure I have the math correct. Kat Green and Rafe Hernandez meet at his office to look into EJ's finances using ISA and FBI resources. He gives Kat an earful about EJ's very colorful past. I mean, Chad DiMera's already told her a little, but Rafe is going to tell her a lot. Meanwhile, after this talk with Kat, we have Rafe Hernandez heading home. He runs into Gabby, who says Ari Hernandez left for the senior lake trip, and she's going to find out very soon that Ari didn't make it there. Stephanie Johnson gets a surprise from Alex Kyriakis. He had her book published, it looks like, electronically. He's showing her the ebook cover. Kayla Brady gets a peep at it too, but she doesn't know it's Stephanie that wrote it. And obviously, she's going to freak out when she finds out her mom and dad were doing sexy things from the pages of her book. That is just so gross to me. I don't even know why Days of Our Lives is doing that. That just gives me the ick so bad to think about just writing sexy stuff and your parents acting it out. Like, that's just gross. Anyway, Thomas DiMera asks Kat if she will play ball with him and his dad Chad in the park, but Kat probably knows or is assuming that Chad doesn't want her there. So it's like, should she stay? Should she go? Thursday, July 17th. Belle Black and EJ are choosing jurors for Johnny DiMera's attempted murder trial. Now they both think he's innocent, but Belle is mad because she thinks EJ was getting sexy with her to get her to drop the charges. I don't think so. I think EJ was getting sexy with her because he wanted to get sexy with her. I think he made her to the Eggs Benedict to try and get her to drop the charges, and it didn't work. But Belle's cooled off since then, and she makes a suggestion to EJ when he says he wishes he could remember the shooting so he could find the real shooter and exonerate Johnny. So, I'm wondering if Marlena Evans, Deidre Hall, is going to hypnotize him. Sophia Choi and her fake belly continue to lie to her mother. Amy Choi about being pregnant and pushing forward with adoption plans. She's getting ready to make a trip out of town with Melinda to try and wrap this up and tie off the loose ends. The kidnapper is really scaring Holly Jonas and Ari. They need to remain calm and use their heads to stay safe. Meanwhile, Tate Black and Doug Williams get into a physical altercation over the girls. Doug insists he doesn't know where Holly is, but Tate thinks he might know. So Doug absolutely knows who has them. He just doesn't know where he has them, and Doug is going to try again to get into Gwen's room this week. He's desperate to get the necklace, but she seems to keep it on her, and she may be moving out soon. So we'll see if he gets it away from her. On Friday, July 18th, Gabby gets some much-needed comfort from Xander after she finds out Ari is missing. Our leaker says, "Don't read too much into Gabby and Xander, that there's not going to be real sparks there." She is headed in Philip Kyriakis' direction instead. Chad and Kat are feeling even more awkward. Is this still about the Thomas incident? Or is Kat feeling a little more awkward because she's investigating Chad's brother, EJ? She really can't tell him, right? Because it's ISA business, and the search gets underway to find Ari and Holly. Hopefully they'll get there in time. Their lives are at stake. Rafe pitches in, and he's with Doug and Tate as they start looking for the girls. So maybe Rafe arrests the mustachioed kidnapper soon, and on Friday, Sophia is chickening out of the plan. She may be losing her nerve and doesn't want to go to Chicago with Melinda to do the fake adoption thing, but I think Melinda may talk Sophia into sticking to the plan because of what happens soon with Tate. The week of July 21st through the 25th. I'm wondering if Doug comes out of this kidnapping unscathed. I mean, there's really, unless he's caught stealing the necklace, there's nothing to get him arrested. It's not his fault that bad men are pressuring him. You know, he paid off the original debt, and then they came back with extra interest. That's what loan sharks do. And Doug was really trying to protect Ari and Holly. He wasn't doing anything bad to them. He was just trying to stop the trouble. But now that the girls have talked to each other, I do think Doug may be out a friend in Holly and out a girlfriend in Ari. Sammy Brady's back soon to support Johnny during the trial, and she needs to see Marlena as soon as possible because they never got to grieve John Black together. And Hurricane Sammy probably is not going to be good for Belle and EJ's relationship. She may be livid that her little sister is still with EJ after she basically warned her off while he was shot and in a coma. Kristen is stressed out about Rachel Black having to testify in court. She's not happy that EJ was suggesting that Rachel could be manipulated to change her testimony about what she saw going on between Johnny and EJ DiMera. Kristen was definitely hoping she wouldn't have to bring her daughter to the courthouse, but she is going to have to go on the stand, and that means Belle Black is going to have to grill her niece Rachel. I'm sure she will do it as gently as possible, but she has to ask tough questions about the night Uncle EJ DiMera was shot. Tony and Gabby start cooking up plans for their corporate coup to take back DiMera Enterprises and get it away from Philip and Xander. Gabby has a lot of info to give Tony about Xander and Philip, and it looks like they're going to try and pit the brothers against each other when honestly, they really are already pitted against each other. But at some point soon, Xander and Philip are going to find a path forward. Sophia is soon going to tell Tate that she gave birth to a baby girl, and the adoptive parents took the little girl straight from the hospital. Obviously, Sophia's going to stun Tate when she tells him this, because he really wanted to meet the baby before the adoption happened. A custody battle continues to loom unless Sarah and Xander can find a way forward. Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez love little baby Toro, and I'm wondering if they're going to try and keep him. Gwen under the same roof as Kristen and EJ DiMera could be calamitous.